Round 15 of Vodacom Super Rugby has come to an end, and the bulk of teams have only got 3 league fixtures remaining, so all that much more important to get the results in this crucial stage of the season. We saw on Friday the action getting underway with the Chiefs, and a wonderful win for them over the Vodacom Bulls, who still are to claim a win on their tour. The Reds went down to the South Sea Sharks, who finally managed to get one before the end of their tour due to an incredible error by the Reds. On Saturday morning, it was the Hurricanes that managed to show their class in a very wet game, beating the Blues away from home. The Waratahs also looking a lot more impressive and seem to have found their mojo at the crucial stage of the season, beating the Crusaders. The Western Force going down to the Highlanders, who a lot of people thought would be jaded travelling from South Africa, but that wasn't to be. And we saw the Toyota Cheetahs going down to the Emirates Lions, who still have a mathematical chance to get into the top 6, as do, of course, the Stormers, who now top the South African Conference. They did particularly well to beat a tough-to-beat Melbourne Rebels side. So we've seen the result. Let's see how they stand. Well, the Hurricanes continue to trailblaze, and they are clear ahead of everybody else on the overall log. The Waratahs on 41 points, and leading the South African charge are the DHL Stormers on 38. But as you take a look at that, the Brumbies also share the same number of points as the Stormers, and that means that in next week's match against the Sharks, the Brumbies will have their season pretty much decided. So it's going to be very important what happens next week. That is the top 6, and the wildcard places, Chiefs, Highlanders and Brumbies. The Lions, as I mentioned, still with a mathematical chance, and they'll be hoping to pick up more points and a bonus point next weekend. The Blue Bulls, they've had a really tough run on tour, and will be hoping to finish off on a high. But Western Force, Reds, Blues, Cheetahs, Sharks and Rebels, as well as the Crusaders, it is pretty much game over. So then on to round 16, and as I mentioned, these will count for so much more. It gets going at 9 o'clock on Friday with Tony Ndoro and the boys as the Crusaders take on the Hurricanes in an all-New Zealand derby. The Brumbies will then take on the Bulls. That is the match that has been earmarked as one that will have massive ramifications in both Australia and South African conferences. And then the Sharks will take on the Melbourne Rebels to wrap up Friday's action. On Saturday morning, 9 o'clock is when Tony and the boys will be in yet again with the Highlanders up against the Chiefs. The Western Force will take on the Reds. The DHL Stormers at home to the Toyota Cheetahs, and the Lions return to Johannesburg to face the Waratahs. Well, as I mentioned, it's certainly key matches and key results that we're looking forward to. It's only going to get much tougher from here on out. Thanks for joining us. Good night.